The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sports Bash, and that is being presented by TicketBash.com, where you will never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is being brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. And might I add, those desserts are truly delicious. And we're also being brought to you by the Marty Lyons Foundation. That is the official charity of Sports Bash Media. And you can always visit them online at martylyonsfoundation.org. And also by Collaborate Studios. It is a content marketing production facility. And for more information, you can call them at 516-509-8277. Good morning, everybody. This is Vinny Tickets. Alongside me is the well-known and the 600 batting average or knowledge average. I like that, actually, the knowledge average.
That's not bad.
So he has a knowledge average currently of 600. Being joined. Good morning, Wiz. How are you today?
Doing good, Vin. How you doing?
Doing great, buddy. So it is time for the Sports Bash Flash, and that is being brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family, and the Embassy Diner is located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. And when you mention Sports Bash, you'll get a free dessert with your meal. So to start the show, we have a lot of sports to cover. We have the Mets, we have the Yankees, we have a bunch of other stuff. But for starters, we wanted to talk a little bit about injuries. The Yankees have some key injuries that they're hoping to get some of their sticks back in the lineup. The Mets have some pitching. Joining us today on the show is Venice Muley-Glass from Sunshine Physical Therapy right here in Commack, New York. And that office is located at 297 Commack Road. Venice, are you with us today?
I am.
Good morning, Venice. How are you today? Sounds like Venice might be having some audio issues. Maybe we'll have her give a call back in on her landline, because we are getting some breakup. Venice, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, loud and clear. So Venice, we're talking about today the Mets and the Yankees. I know you're a huge concert fan. I don't know how much you follow the sports, but when we talk about the Yankees and the Mets, they have two really key players, and we wanted to get your intake. First off, tell us a little bit about what Sunshine Physical Therapy is all about.
Sure. It's a private practice, orthopedically and sports-oriented based physical therapy center. Was the very first sports medicine facility in Suffolk County, started in the early to mid-'80s, treating sports injuries from all over the island. We're part of the Hospital for Special Surgeries Rehabilitation Network. So we get a lot of patients from HSS, and we know that they do a lot of the Mets and the Yankees players, as well as a lot of the people from the Yanks, orthopedic surgeons. I've treated a lot of people in their families, and I am a true New York fan, even though I grew up in Queens, so my heart is for the Mets. I hope that that's not a problem.
All right, we're going to have to end this call now. Just kidding. So Venice, that's great. Are there any, for our listeners in the audience right now, tell them how they could get in touch with you, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Mets injuries and some of these Yankee injuries. So if we have any listeners that have any needs for their physical therapy needs, tell our listeners how they get in touch with your office, how to make an appointment. And I will say this to all of our listeners. I could say there's at least 30 people that I personally know that have used your service. And as always, and it is, of course, expected, nothing but absolute rave reviews. So tell our listeners how to get in touch with your company or your physical therapy office, and then we're going to move on to some injury talk.
Yeah, so, they can just call Sunshine Physical Therapy or look us up on Google, see all the great reviews. And we're right here in Comac.
297 Comac Road. You can Google them, Sunshine Physical Therapy at 297 Comac Road in Comac. And Venice, we want to first talk about the New York Mets. There's Kodai Senga, who is on the disabled list. He is scheduled to come back July 26th, and he's suffering from a shoulder strain. Can you put some light into that injury for our listeners? Like, we hear all these injuries, and to us as laymen, it's all Greek. But to somebody like you, when someone has a shoulder strain, a pitcher, a fielder, anybody has a shoulder strain, what exactly are they speaking about?
All right, so there's two types of traumas. One, macro trauma, and the other, which is 80% of the injuries, are called micro traumas. So repetitive motion injuries, on and on with the tendons. So macro trauma, you fall, you have a collision, you tear, immediately, or fracture, tear an Achilles tendon, tear a bicep tendon, and the arm is like a Popeye's arm. Those things. But micro traumas from repetitive motion or throwing a lot of fastballs, a lot of curveballs, you strain. Strains with a T is anything muscular or tendinous origin. A sprain with a P is anything what they call ligamentous or capsule oriented. So when they say that he has this strain, it could be bicipital, bicep tendon, or rotator cuff. And there are 4 rotator cuff tendons that form the rotator cuff. So generally it's the rotator cuff tendon or tendons.
Okay. And then when we speak about this injury, how likely, so we are, you as a Met fan and my partner here, Wiz, as a Met fan, anxious to see him get back on the field. When you talk about that injury, is it something that you keep seeing it being a recurring injury over and over again? Or once it's healed, it's something that it's one of those situations where it comes back even stronger than it was before?
Generally, if you strengthen and decrease all the inflammation, it wouldn't come back unless there's faulty mechanics.
Okay.
And sometimes they have to change the mechanics a little bit.
In all likelihood, that could have been the cause of the injury originally, right? The faulty mechanics.
Correct.
Yeah. So then let's talk about the Yankees. And this is something that's near and dear to my heart. We all know that, I attempted to play some sports growing up. I always tell the story that I peaked at 12 years old, unfortunately, and that was the end of my career. We're talking about Giancarlo Stanton for the New York Yankees, and I personally had the injury, and I literally, Venice, with this injury that I had a pulled hamstring in my 20s playing softball for 2 years that I would injure my hamstring and think that it felt great. And Giancarlo Stanton is suffering from a hamstring injury. Can you briefly tell us what exactly is a hamstring injury? What is that? What's happening to the body?
Okay, so the hamstring is the muscle that starts out right at the top of the thigh, behind your leg, right at the top of the buttock, and goes. There's 3 muscles that form the hamstring area, 3 tendons that go into the back of the knee, and they extend the hip as well as bend the knee. And sometimes it's torn, again, microscopically or macroscopically. So when someone tears their hamstring, there's a lot of blood in the area and hence a lot of scar tissue that forms that has to be removed. Otherwise, the hamstring injury stays there because it's inflexible. A lot of people don't do enough hamstring stretching, but also hamstring strengthening. So
stretching and strengthenings are the two keys. It sounds like.
Yeah, and you're overstretch the leg when you're running, and then all of a sudden you pull that hamstring.
There you go. We are going to our break, Venice. We want to thank you for being on our show today. Thank you for giving us some insight. Everybody, that's Venice Muley-Glass from Smith. I apologize. I got it in there, Ernie. And we are going to be going to our break. That's Sunshine Physical Therapy, located at 297 Comac Road. We have a lot to cover on the back end. Venice, thank you so much for joining us on the show. If anyone needs a physical therapy office, please go to our friends there. For our viewers on Facebook and YouTube, please stay with us through the break. Venice, thank you. You have a great day, and thank you for all your insight.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer. You are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
Well, we want to welcome back all of our live listeners on both YouTube and Facebook and wherever you get your podcast from. We are coming to you live from the studios here, the WRCN 103.9 studios located at MacArthur Airport. We have a lot to cover in the back end. Today we will have a ticket giveaway. We'll be giving away 2 tickets for Cole Swindell at Bald Hill Amphitheatre. So if you're watching live, the number to call in to get those tickets will be 631-451-1039. After the break, we'll be covering the Yankees. We'll be covering the Mets. We'll be talking about everything else that's going on in the sports world. We'll be giving away those Cole Swindell VIP tickets. I know Wiz has something to talk about the New York Mets, right? You want to talk about the Metsies last night and the Yankees, both teams coming out with big wins last night. And we have a lot to cover coming up right after the break. And here we go. Okay, everybody, welcome to the second half of Sports Bash. And we want to start with the Sports Bash Flash being brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage. That's 4280 Hempstead Turnpike. And we're going to start out in Miami, where the Mets gained a split of a 4-game series, beating the Marlins 6-4. Francisco Lindor homered twice. Jeff McNeil also went deep. And David Peterson picked up the win, giving up 2 runs and only 6 hits over 5 innings. Then over to Yankee Stadium, where the Yankees played the Home Run Derby.
And he swings and drives it deep into right field, and it is gone! A home run onto the porch! A laser shot off the bat of Juan Soto! We continue to watch greatness from the sensational Juan. A 3-run jack into the porch and right, and the Yankees are ahead 9-1.
And that was Justin Shackle on WFAN. And for those of you that saw that home run, it got out of the stadium really quick. If you listen to the call, sometimes we'll listen to the calls, and I know we had spoken about doing something like you make the call. But when you listen to that call, it's great because the time that he had to make that call, oh, that ball's hit hard, and next thing you know, his next statement, usually I have to put some filler in there. It's high, it's long, it's deep. But as you notice, because it was such a laser beam, the thing was a P, it was off the bat and in the seats within seconds. So didn't have a lot of time. Justin Shackle, great call from WFAN. The Yankees actually hit 5 home runs in a 9-1 win over the Rays, and they gained the split last night of a 4-game series. Juan Soto with 2 home runs, and Austin Wells had a homer, Anthony Volpe, and do you know who else had a home run?
Judge.
Nope. The first one of the year. I'll give you a hint. DJ LeMahieu.
Oh, finally.
Finally.
I almost forgot he was on the team, honestly, because he's been such a non-factor.
That's terrible. You can't say that about a Yankee. That's spoken like a true Met fan there. Carlos Rodon picked up the win last night, allowing a run and 2 hits while striking out 10 over 7 innings. That is a tremendous outing, and that's why the Yankees picked up Rodon, so that he could give us outings exactly like that. And going into a 4-game series, the Yankees really needed to take 3 out of 4, but to salvage the series, get Rodon on the hill, it was a day game at Yankee Stadium, and to get Rodon on the hill and to get a big win like that is really, really important for the team. Just as important as the Mets splitting, where they really should have taken 3 out of 4, if not 4 out of 4. You really need to, at the end of the year, you look back and you say, what series could we have won? What was a big series that we could have won? And a series against the Marlins or a series against the Rays, those are the series that will look back come late September or early October and say, remember we came out of the All-Star break, we split, or if worst case scenario, if we went 1-3, those are the type of series that you really need to take the 3-1 and do a sweep.
Yeah.
So tonight we have some excitement in the Bronx. It is the next portion of the Subway Series as the New York Mets visit Yankee Stadium. And the pitching matchup for this evening will be Jose Quintana versus Lewis Heel, and the first pitch this evening is at 7:05 p.m. The USA men's Olympic basketball team defeated Germany, not by a big margin either, only by 4 points. We know it's exhibition. Do we hit the panic button yet, Wiz?
I wouldn't hit it just yet, but to tell you the truth, even though I am American, I'm actually interested to see if we get some U.S. upsets. But I will say this. If the U.S. does not win gold, it is a failure, because this is supposed to be a team that's built to win the gold medal. If they do anything short of that, it'll be seen as a failure.
I would have to agree with that. So in last night's game, we know it's exhibition. And I will say this, that LeBron James had 20 points leading the team. He had 6 rebounds and 4 assists. You don't see assists and the word LeBron together too often. Coming up on Sports Bash, we'll have today's Sports Bash poll question, as well as this day in sports history. So when we're coming back, we are back. Thank you. We are back. And to call in, we'll be taking the third caller on the line today for a pair of Cole Swindell tickets. Our buddy Sebastiano on the other side of the glass will be taking those calls. That's Saturday, August 31st. The number to call in is 631-451-1039. And now it's time for the Sports Bash media poll question. And what we do is we post a new poll question every weekday on the Sports Bash media X or Twitter page. And first, we want to go over the results from Monday's poll question. And the poll question was, is the USA men's basketball team a lock to win the gold medal at the Olympics? And the 2 responses were either yes or no. So the question was yes or no. And it looks like it was an overwhelming response that the listeners and the viewers live felt that the overwhelming response was yes. Anything short of a gold medal is a disappointment. And then on to today's question. What sports or entertainment personality would make a good presidential candidate? Wow, that's pretty. I thought we said we weren't going to get into the politics, but I guess this is kind of on the fringe. We'll live on the fringe here. So our choices today, we have 3 choices, and you also have the opportunity to do a write-in. So the first choice, who would make a great president? Number 1, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
You see memes about that. I've been seeing memes about it the last few years.
Okay. Then we'll go to a New York Jet who actually did discuss dipping his toe into this pool. That would be Aaron Rodgers.
It's possible. I kind of question his stances on things, but I think he could maybe try to go at it.
We'll see if he makes a run for it. The next one is Stephen A. Smith.
Would not be surprising.
Would not be surprising. And then other, comment below, which means that you have your opportunity. We have a write-in ballot, so you'll have the opportunity to do a write-in ballot. So let's see what the results come back for that. That'll be interesting to cover tomorrow. Tomorrow we do have Stump the Wiz, and I think it's 6 for 10. So you'll have the chance to be 6 for 11 or 7 for 12, which, when you have these low numbers, it really gives you a chance to boost your average there. We're going to give you the floor whiz here, and it's time for This Day in Sports History. We have maybe 30, 60 seconds for that, so let's get it done.
All right, on this day in 2021, it was the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. The reason why it was in 2021, not 2020, was, of course, because of COVID. But it had many new sports, such as 3-on-3 basketball, surfing, and skateboarding, which were added to the mix. America led the way with 113 medals. China had 89, and Russia had 71. I'm very, very excited for the Olympics in a few days in Paris. What about you, Vin?
I can't wait to watch it all. I think the opening ceremony, I've been seeing some teasers about that. The opening ceremony to me is always very exciting. So I'll be looking forward to that and the closing ceremony. And then whatever I catch in between, I catch in between. Maybe some basketball and maybe some beach volleyball and see what other spectacles we see.
I usually watch the basketball personally.
The basketball, yeah. It's always exciting seeing these teams, these professionals compete in the amateur world. So tomorrow we have a very special show for you. Myself, Vinny Tickets, will be visiting, as Peter calls it, Dr. Summeroff the next 2 days. Tomorrow we'll be doing Stump the Wiz. DM your best questions today. The last couple of weeks we've received some fantastic questions. We pick them out every Tuesday night. You can message us on Instagram and Facebook those questions. We'll give a prize if you're able to stump the Wiz. The Wiz is on a streak, so be careful because Wiz is hot right now. That'll do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, the Marty Lyons Foundation, and Collaborate Studios. For our entire crew here, Sebastiano behind the glass, Nick on camera, Wiz next door to me, my buddy Peter. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9.